So I felt that the moral failure was so eating into our fabric of our society that I felt a need for some kind of answer. And so I turned to the Mahabharata. Now, why the Mahabharata? Mahabharata is unique in engaging with the world of politics. Number two, it's obsessed with dharma. Number three, no one in the Mahabharata looks to God for an answer to dharma. They are left into their own devices, which means that their moral reasoning skills improve, because acting morally with dharma is part of understanding what is right and what is wrong in a situation. So my new book, which I've just completed, called The Difficulty of Being Good on the Subtle Art of Dharma, is about the central problem of how to live our lives. It is one man's search for dharma, and dharma as construed both as a private virtue as well as civic virtue. The Mahabharata makes you look in the mirror, and it makes you realize how you deceive yourself thinking you're good when you're not. And I hope it will motivate some of those absentee school teachers also to look in the mirror. Let me give you an idea of what I'm doing in this book, and also relate it to the subject of leadership. My first chapter is called Duryodhan's Envy. Now, most of you will know that the Mahabharata is a story of two sets of cousins, the Kauravas and the Pandavas, who have a rivalry for the throne. And Dhritarashtra divides the kingdom and gives the worst half to the Pandavas. But the Pandavas work hard, they win battles, they make alliances and become powerful. And at the Rajsuya sacrifice of Yudhishthira, Duryodhan suddenly gets very envious to see how well his cousins are doing. And he says, Shakuni says to him, "What's the problem with you, king? Why have you grown pale? And you look very depressed." Duryodhan answers, and these are the words from the Mahabharata, actual words. Duryodhan says, "What man of mettle will stand to see his rivals prosper and himself decline?" Now, in those words, he has actually captured a very dangerous part of envy, which says that if my neighbor is doing well, that automatically means that I have gone down in the world. You know, this is the basic idea. They did a survey at the Harvard Business School a few years ago, and they asked these young managers, would you like to earn $100,000 a year or $50,000 a year? 88% said we'll earn $50,000 a year. Why? Because if the question was that if you were earning $100,000, your friends would be earning $200,000. That was part of the deal. But if you were earning $50,000, your friends would be earning $25,000. So they made the irrational decision to earn half of what they should have been earning. And what Duryodhana has pointed out is a very dangerous thing about envy. See, unlike jealousy you can forgive, because in jealousy, somebody may run away with your wife, so you can feel jealous of your wife. But with envy, it's your neighbor who's doing well, who has diminished you. You know, when I was 5 years old, in our neighbor's house, there was a young boy about the same age. He had a red fire engine. I hated that boy because he had that red fire engine. And one day he was not looking, I broke that engine. You see how dangerous it is, how destructive. And you know, when I was working in Bombay, we had a union leader. Next to our factory was the Philips factory, and it had been on strike for 12 months. And the union, we were very worried. This was at Datta Samant's time. And the union leader said, I don't care if you ever open that factory, as long as the Dutch factory manager goes to hell. Very dangerous. You know, the Greeks had a good solution to envy, and that was that if somebody became too successful, too popular in society, they would exile him for 10 years. Like a famous general, General Malik, I'm afraid, would have been exiled in Athens for 10 years, until the envy in the society cooled down. I must tell you, as a shareholder of Reliance, I am very worried about Anil Ambani's envy for Mukesh. Anil wants the world to think that he is just as competent as his brother. And he probably is. But the world does not think so. But the destructive quality now is that I'm afraid Anil is not so much concerned about how well his enterprises do as how badly he can destroy Mukesh's enterprise. And I tell you, 4 million shareholders of Reliance are also worried about that. So this gives you a little taste of what, this is one chapter. There are 10 chapters in the book. Obviously, there isn't the time to talk about those, and since we are running out of time, I was just thinking, because I was going to take you through 3 or 4 such chapters, and maybe what I'll do is, in the interest of time, skip a little bit. You all know that there is a game of dice. Shakuni's solution to Duryodhana's envy is to rig a game of dice. Shakuni is not only the best dice player in the world, but he is also the biggest cheat, the most cheating dice player in the world. Yudhishthira loses his kingdom, and the Pandavas go into exile as a part of the contract, part of an agreement to Yudhishthira that the Pandavas give. When they are in exile in the Dvaita forest, Draupadi sees her husband. He's sleeping on the hard earth, and she says, "Great king, I weep for you."